Hello and welcome back to GamesRadar's After Dark show here at Gamescom. I am joined right now by Ralph. Hello, Ralph.
Hi.
And we are here to talk about Forza Horizon 4.
We are, yes.
We've got a brand new demo from the Gamescom show floor to look at, so let's roll the footage and you can tell us what we're about to see.
Yep, absolutely. So this is interestingly, this is the demo that we're showing on the Gamescom show floor this week. It's what people are getting their hands on for kind of the first time, certainly in Europe. But it's also the first 8-ish minutes of the game that you will play when it comes out on October 2nd. So what we want to do right at the start of the game is we want to throw you right into the action. We want to explain a bunch of the big concepts of this game, all the things that make it completely different, I think, from the other games in the Horizon series. And we do that by, first of all, putting you in control of an amazing car. So here the player has chosen a Dodge Viper, which is a nice thing to drive. I guess if you get the opportunity, I would have gone, because I'm a loyal brand man. I would have gone with the McLaren Senna, which is our hero car. And I wouldn't have driven into that tree either.
No, or the wall.
But I mean, but each to their own.
It's just testing the destructive environment. So
Horizon is all about freedom. But yeah, so you'll drive a fast car. And what we're really showing off here is that you're driving in auto for the first time in a Horizon game. You are driving in Britain for the first time in a Horizon game, so that the game is set in beautiful historic Britain. We're driving right now, and I don't know how well you might know the area, but it's from the Lake District, I think, this particular stretch of road and countryside. And really this section is just about getting you comfortable with driving a fast car on these beautiful British roads through the beautiful autumn scenery. And we throw in some quintessentially British things like heavy rainfall and sheep, two of the things that Britain I think is most famous for.
Yes.
Before, just round the bend up a little further on, what we're going to do is we're going to transition into a completely different season. And that's not how it happens in the game proper, but really this first eight or so minutes is all about just saying, hey, this is Britain, and now seasons are going to change your experience completely, as they will do right now. And we've transitioned into winter, and obviously the visual difference is astonishing.
Yeah.
But also, as we will see, and I don't like your player's chances if he struggled in autumn, we'll see that the seasons change the driving experience as well. So yeah, we're driving through thick snow there. We've actually just driven off a frozen waterfall and jumped onto a frozen river, which is not something you should ever do.
No, that's quite dangerous.
It's just foolhardy. But yeah, we're driving up the field now, up the hill now, deforming that thick snow as we drive in this cool trophy truck in a completely different race. And we've we've jumped forward in time into the driver's seat of a completely different car and a completely different experience.
So that waterfall that we saw there in the winter, when we come back in the different seasons, it will be
in all other seasons. It'll actually be, yes, it will be unfrozen. It's just in winter that it freezes. And I guess, obviously the things freezing tip is kind of like the best way for us to key in that winter is cold, the gameplay experience changes. Also, the gameplay opportunities, I think, change from season to season. So, obviously you wouldn't be able to drive on that river. Perhaps even more interestingly, as we're about to see now, the lake, which is called Derwent Water, again in the Lake District, it has entirely frozen over in winter as well. So what is normally just it's a big body of water, now it's actually a solid ice lake that you can drive on. There will be a drag strip, believe it or not, on it in winter. In winter, you will gain access to some of the islands which are inaccessible in other seasons, right. And you can get at the gameplay and the secrets which those hold as well. And as soon as you've kind of got used to the fact that it's cold and slidey, we're moving forward again into spring. And we're showing off, again, a completely different event, because Horizon is all about variety and breadth of content, and also in a completely different, the conditions brought on by a completely different season, which is spring in this case. Much rainier, much wetter. You can see that with really puddles turning into large bodies of water, which will really affect the dynamics of your car and the handling that you feel when you drive through them. Lots of mud, which also becomes deformable. Walls remain breakable.
Walls are still there.
That's an all-season thing.
Okay,
yeah, that's season agnostic, we would say.
So if you've got any questions for Rob, don't forget you can tweet them in, as Acius1111, it's lucky they only had 4, has done, and it says, when are we going to hear about the car list? Now we know there's about 450 in the game.
That's right, 450 plus we're saying. We're going to be releasing that in the not so many weeks left before launch, it has to be said, but in one of those I have no doubt that we'll be releasing the full list.
So why did you pick England for this time around? Were there any other considerations on the cards at any time?
Always, always. And I would say it's Britain rather than England, and I have a vested interest, as you can probably hear from my accent, in making that distinction. But yeah, it is Britain. But there's always a huge sort of a body of work that happens at the start of a Horizon game. There's a ton of debate and research and more debate that goes on as we decide where this next game can be set. And I said yesterday actually to someone that honestly, Horizon games could be set pretty much anywhere, as long as there are great roads to drive on and beautiful, scenery and views. It's entirely possible that the Horizon Festival could set up there. Britain has honestly never been high on our list, right. And I think partially that's because when you live somewhere, and Playground is a British studio, we're based in England. When you live somewhere, you sometimes become immune to just how cool it is, how beautiful it is. You get a little bit jaded with it. And it was only a couple of people in the studio doing an amazing job of pitching Britain as a great location for the game that made us, I think, address whatever biases we had against it and actually see Britain again as just an incredibly beautiful, incredibly varied place. I think the other thing is, at the same time that we were arguing over where we should set the game, there was a team in the studio going to work out whether we could do dynamic seasons, which has been a long-standing ambition of ours in the Horizon series. And this time they came back and they felt they had figured out a way that we could do dynamic seasons, which is to say this enormous world, the same size as Forza Horizon 3's, but in 4 completely different manifestations, like in 4 completely different seasons with completely different visuals and physics and handling. And the fact that we could do seasons suddenly made Britain just the perfect choice, because Britain, as you know, is a very seasonal country. We get not extreme seasons, but certainly they are incredibly distinct. And in addition, we Brits do like to talk about seasons quite a lot.
Love the weather.
We do love to talk about the weather. Therefore, it felt that the two things kind of went really hand in hand. And as soon as we had one, we felt we had to do the other.
Right, okay. Well, as we're talking about seasons and dynamic weather, how long in game time does it take for it to transition from one to the next? So
that's a good question. So we've been showing this, the opening minutes of the game, and obviously it happens every couple of minutes. After you finish this section, you'll go into what we call a prologue, which is going to last about 6 hours. 6 hours of good gameplay if you're going at a reasonable pace, and you will go through each of the seasons once again, living 1 year in the life of the Horizon Festival, your first year at the Horizon Festival.
Right.
So that's going to take 6 or so hours for you to do. After that, you will move into what we call Horizon Life, and in Horizon Life, it's a shared world, so everybody lives in the same world. The drivers you meet will be real players playing their game, and everybody will have seasons synchronized. So seasons apply to everyone. They last 1 real world week, so it's not in-game time, it's real world time. So a season will last a week, and then at the end of that week, the season will change, and it will change for everyone. And everyone will have that experience of either being in the game or maybe logging in the next time they log in and seeing that summer has become autumn or autumn has become winter. And I think that's going to be a really cool experience. On top of that, we're going to use seasons as this real mechanism to deliver new stuff into the game. So things are always changing, not just the visuals, not just the the handling, the driving experience, the actual gameplay, the content that you'll work your way through will change from season to season. There'll be season-specific events that only appear in spring or only appear in summer. We'll be changing up other things about the game, for example, Forzathon weekly challenges or the stock in the Forzathon shop. So every week we'll bring new stuff for you to do, new opportunities for gameplay, and we hope, because it's a shared world game, you'll take on those opportunities with other people.
Well, I guess feeding into that, because I had a question about how it's going to change the world in seasons, is barns. Big thing, like secret barns to go and find.
Barn finds, yes, yes.
They're obviously going to be back.
They are back.
I guess, are they going to be specific to seasons?
So yes, so I think there are some of them which are seasonal barn finds, so they only appear in specific seasons. Lots of them don't, because we don't want to get into a situation where we're gating you from things you want to go and do. For us, every season should be as good as all the others. You should never, feel like you don't want to play this week because it's a specific season. And we spent a lot of time really balancing the game, tuning the game to make sure that's the case. But we do have, I think, 4 barn finds, so 1 for each season, which only appear in a specific season. And an example of one of those is the island I mentioned earlier, which is only accessible in winter because you can drive across the frozen lake. Who knows, you might find a barn find on that one.
You might do.
Who knows? Who can say?
Have to go and investigate.
Indeed.
So, in terms of the gameplay between co-op and solo, how does that thing work? Can you play it all just on your own if you wanted?
Yes, yeah, and I think that's a really important point that we've heard from some of our fans. By no means everyone, but certainly some people just don't want to play with others. And to them, we say no problem at all. It's as easy as going into the pause menu and clicking a button, and we will seamlessly transition you out of the shared world into a world very similar to the one you played in Forza Horizon 3. So it's just you and some drivatars driving around, and you can play solo to your heart's content. There are other classes of player, I think, as well. There's the ones who do want to play online, but maybe their internet's flaky, or maybe our servers go down. In that situation, shared world games generally don't cope brilliantly, if I'm honest. Many games, and I'm sure you'll have experienced this as well, in that scenario, kick you out to the front end, to the main menu. Lobby, and sometimes you lose some progress. That's not the way in Horizon 4. If that happens in Horizon 4, seamlessly, almost without you knowing it, we'll just transition you away from the online that you can no longer connect to into a solo experience. And then I think the third way as well is, I think people will go and play solo in the shared world, which is to say they won't really modify their behaviour, they won't change the way they play and suddenly become incredibly social and only play with others. They'll keep doing the things they always do in Horizon games, going and doing races, going to PR stunts, but they'll do it in a world which has loads of other people doing the same thing at the same time. And as a result, I think they'll get the best experience, which is a world which is buzzing and alive with real people doing things real people do, and thus being endlessly sort of interesting and unpredictable as a result.
Okay, we've got loads of questions coming in from the internet. So the real legend has asked, will seasons change gradually, or will it be an instant sort of cut on-off thing?
That is a cracking question. No, they will change completely at one transition point, which is to say, each of the seasons we've designed, we're looking at spring here, for example. Each of them we've built as the perfect version of that season. Sorry, in summer we've done the absolutely best summer, like kind of like we had in the UK this year.
Yeah, amazingly.
It's synced quite nicely. But that's the kind of summer that we've always talked about wanting, and that's the kind of summer that we've created in the game. Equally, the winter isn't a miserable, grey, sleety winter that like generally speaking we get. It's the beautiful Christmas card. Sort of wintry scene.
The idyllic winter.
Exactly, because I think that's, nobody wants a grey afternoon in January.
Don't want rubbish winter.
Exactly, we want great winter, and that's exactly what we've packaged in. So that's what you'll get for your week. You'll get the best possible season that season can be, and then it will change to the best that the next season can be as well.
Brilliant. Okay, one more. Sean Valentine says, are there different classes of vehicles coming to Horizon 4?
By which I assume he means, are there new classes of vehicle?
I will assume that too.
Let's assume that because with 450,
there's bound to be different ones.
there are, yes, there are not 450 of exactly the same kind of car. There are actually, yes, and they are the sort of racing trucks which we've never had before, and are kind of insane, really. Like they're it's kind of ridiculous that people race them, but I think what we're finding in Horizon is that we're starting to get towards the end of the kind of cars that you get, because once you get to 450 cars, it's just such an incredibly large number.
Yeah.
We've kind of done almost everything, but yeah, racing trucks are new for Horizon 4. So I think that's the answer to Sean's question.
And we've even seen a black taxi driving around as
we
well.
have, yes, which is
nice.
a neat British touch. And yeah, there are a bunch of new British cars in there, which we'll be revealing really soon. Both old and obviously new. The McLaren Senna being the one which we have on the show floor at Gamescom. I don't know if you've had a chance.
I've seen it. Yes,
it's
amazing,
incredible. Yes, and it's a real privilege to be able to have that in the game for the first time.
So there's some other new additions I think coming into this, including houses to own, jobs, owning businesses, that kind of thing. Can you just explain a little bit about
all of this is related to the concept of living the Horizon life, which is the thing you go do after you finish the prologue. So after we kind of take the brakes off you, stop giving you sort of leading you by the hand, I guess, through the game. We basically say go and make your life in Horizon, because the game elapses season after season, year after year. You're kind of living there forever. It stopped being a holiday and it started being your dream life,
right.
Which means you're going to need somewhere to live. You're going to need somewhere to keep your cars. You're going to need a change of clothes, and you're going to need things to do, some jobs to earn you money, to earn your keep. All of those things are the things you're asking about. So yes, you can buy properties for the first time, and that could be a quaint little cottage in the Cotswolds, or it could be Edinburgh Castle, and there's a bunch of things in between.
Well, I know which one of those I want.
Right. It's the
but
cottage,
I guess it's
yes.
of course,
yes.
A nice, away from everybody else.
Yeah, it's
a nice,
absolutely.
quiet place.
So obviously having a change of clothes is all about character customization, because you are going to be living in this world with loads of other people. You need to be able to present your identity. You need to personalize the way you look, and so this time, in addition to the choice of characters that we have at the start of the game, you will gradually start to accrue clothing items. Novelty caps. You'll be able to pick your name that you'll be referred to by characters in game. You'll be able to obviously personalise your license plate. You'll be able to pick emotes that you can do before and after races, depending on how it went for you. So there's a lot of personalisation. I think there's a lot of fun to be had in that as well.
And is all that tied into how you can rise up the ranks this time?
Yes, yeah.
Options, right?
So basically, the goal, and it's a really broad one, right? We're not. It's a very sort of high level goal. Is go become a superstar of the Horizon Festival, and we don't specify how you do that. It's really up to you. The thing we've discovered, I think, about the Horizon games now that we're at version 4, is there's a ton of things to do, and there really is an enormous breadth of things that you can go do, and lots of different players like doing lots of different things. So we decided to recognise that. We've decided to celebrate it and incorporate it into the game's progression. So if you just love doing road racing, for example, you never want to go off-road, you're just going to do road racing. There's a road racing sort of campaign that you can go do. You can level up in it, you can earn rewards, and that will progress you towards being a superstar. If you just like exploring, and it's amazing how many of our players, as soon as we let them off the leash, they just go exploring. They don't do any of the things we've set out for them. They just go look for all the reward boards and find all the roads and so on. That now will earn you progress. It will earn you rewards, and you will level up as a result of that. What's great, I think, is because we have car painting tools in the game. We have tuning. We have photography. We recognise all of those as well. So if you're one of the amazing painters, for example, that we have in our community who do ridiculous works of art on cars and share them out, now we recognise when you're good at that, when you're popular at that, and we'll actually, that could propel you towards superstar status as well.
Amazing. Now, I've basically gone through all of my questions.
Great.
But you've probably done loads of these interviews these
Many.
past few days. Is there anything that people haven't asked you that you were like, I wish someone would have asked me about this key feature that I'd like to talk about, but no one has?
I don't think they have, to be honest. 'Cause you're right, I've done a lot. I've done a lot of these over the last couple of days, and I've been asked a lot of things. But no, it's obviously it's a huge pleasure to be able to come to Gamescom. Particularly Gamescom because it's in Europe and because I'm not jet lagged, and speak to media again in the run up to the launch. Also speak to fans as well. The great thing about Gamescom is that you get to meet fans, and that's something that just doesn't happen often enough for me. But no, I don't think there's anything that I'm still burning to say. In fact, I'm hoping not to speak at all for the remainder of the week. To compensate.
Well, we will let you go. Well, thank you very much for talking to us about Forza Horizon 4.
Thank you.